You're listening to Unlocked, Your Career by Design with Samantha Florence, Fortune 100 executive, billion-dollar business leader, and founder of Powerhouse Code. Here, you'll discover how to build authority, attract opportunities, and lead with authentic presence. If you're ready to claim your spotlight and step into your next level, you're in the right place. Let's unlock your career by design. In the last episode, I talked about fear and how considering fear as your friend is one of the key things to unlock your next level and your goal that might seem out of reach at the moment. And so I talked last episode about a business conference I attended. And then anytime I attend a conference overseas, I have like 2 to 3 days that I do some traveling. So last week I was traveling in Arizona in the USA and I stopped at Sedona. And Sedona is hands down one of my favorite places on earth. And the reason for that is because it's a small town. I wouldn't call it a city. It's a small town in the US, but it's breathtakingly beautiful. And I want you to Google Sedona, Arizona, if you're not familiar with it. It's a perfect place for hikes, very good restaurants with Mexican and Native American influences, really fresh ingredients, super nice. Anyway, that's not what I'm here for. So, went to Sedona, Arizona. And one of the things that I did is climbing the Cathedral Rock. And Cathedral Rock is one of the key landmarks of Sedona. It is beautiful. And if you're not familiar with Sedona or Cathedral Rock, I really encourage you to Google it because it should be on your bucket list. It's breathtakingly beautiful. And I was there with 2 other ladies, right? 2 ladies who became friends. And I visited Cathedral Rock last year. So last December, I was there in Sedona. And I climbed the Cathedral Rock because somebody else recommended it to me. So I'm telling the ladies about the beauty of Cathedral Rock and that we need to go. And they asked me, well, is it an easy or a hard climb? Not climb, hike. Is it an easy hike? Yes, super easy. And it's so worth it because once you get there, it's one of the most beautiful places. So off we go on our way to Cathedral Rock. And we get there, everyone is excited because we can already see the beauty at the top. And then we start hiking. The hike turns on into climb. And my friends are saying to me, well, Sam, this isn't really a hike. You didn't tell us it was going to be a climb. And again, I'm like, I don't remember there being a climb. I just remember the beauty when you're at the top. So we continue climbing and it gets really, really hard. Like I was out of breath hard. And I don't consider myself, I consider myself fit. I do 10K steps a day. I do Zumba twice a week. So I'm not a top athlete. I'm not ultra professional athlete. However, I can do hikes, no problem. But this hike that turned into a climb was leaving me out of breath. Like I had to pause before continuing. Never when I do any walks, slow runs, or even when I go to the gym, I have that I need to pause before I continue. But here I was having to pause before I continue because the climb really, turned out to be very, very hard. And so my friends were, saying, I don't know if we should continue. I didn't think there was going to be a climb. This is more hard than I thought. It's more difficult. Maybe we should just go back. Maybe we should just stop. And I'm like, ladies, trust me, when you get at the top, it's going to be so beautiful and it's going to be so worth it. So here, and why do I tell this story? The reason I tell this story is because there is a metaphor and a lesson for life and work in here, right? So I had that goal in mind. I knew what it would be like once we reached the top. Breathtakingly beautiful, amazing views, worth the sacrifice and the pain of the tough climb. So I'm feeling the heaviness and how difficult it is, but I remember that destination in mind. And so I'm like, okay, maybe it takes me twice as long as I remembered, but I will continue to climb because I know that once I'm up there, it is worth it. And I also know that I forgot how hard it was. So surely when you get there, it's going to disappear. The thoughts of, I can't do this. My other two friends who had not seen or had not reached the top yet and didn't know what to expect and the beauty of Cathedral Rock once you reach the top were sighing, doubting, wondering whether they need to stop, wondering whether to go back, finding it scary to climb these steep rocks, So there was a lot of feeling of doubt of, is this worth it? Or am I cut out for this? So I assured them, keep going, keep going. It gets better and better. It gets easier. And it's so beautiful at the top. And so, again, I am sharing this story from my perspective. I'm sure my two other friends have their perspective. In any case, because I've been there, I could reassure them that it's beautiful and it's worth it. And one of my other friends, she was scared, and she had visited Cathedral Rock before, also a year earlier. However, she stopped halfway and did not continue. She went back down. And so she said, while she was climbing up, she said, I'm really, really scared right now. And if I did not have you girls with me, I would turn and go back down. But because I have you ladies with me, I am pushing myself and I will continue to climb because I feel stronger when I'm with you. So we continue climbing, And we finally reached the top. And it seems like it took forever. And we reached the top and it's so, so beautiful. And I really want you to Google this. Sedona, Arizona, Cathedral Rock in Sedona, Arizona. And the views are just amazing. And we sit there for what's like an hour, just taking in the environment, taking in the landscape, but also thinking about what just happened. Because that hike that turned into a climb was a lesson for life and work, right? Because my friends didn't want to do it. They wanted to turn around halfway because it got too hard, because they were afraid. And while they were climbing, they were not only thinking, how the hell do I get up there? But they were also starting to worry, how the hell do I get that back down? Because it's one thing to climb these steep rocks in this steep mountain, but how do I get back down? And so they were already worrying about the step after the step. Like the first step is get to the goal, get to the top. And the next step is, how do I get back down? So they were worrying about that, but I was thinking, this is harder than I thought, but I'm going step by step, put one foot in front of the other, but I will reach that top because I know how amazing it is at the top. And I'm going to pause there because I want you to think about your goal and your destination. When you think about when you set your bold goal, your next level goal, and you start your journey, 10 out of 10, when you decide that you have your bold goal and your next level goal, you're going to be excited because you're ready to go. You just set your goal. Let's go. Let's do it. But here's what's going to happen. I can assure you 9 out of the 10 times. You're going to reach your halfway, your midpoint, where you have started your journey to get closer to your goal. You're doing your things outside of comfort zone to get you there. And then at the middle, before you get to your goal, it's going to get really, really tough. Whether that's life, whether that's work, corporate, career, business, it doesn't matter. It gets hard before it gets easy. And so as I was climbing this rock, that's what I was telling myself. Oh my goodness, this is just like life. This is just like work. When you set out to progress, when you set out to rise, to climb, to advance, it's not necessarily an easy path. Because that rise, that climb, that progression, that advancement requires something for you. It requires you to step outside of your comfort zone, do new things, implement new strategies. And everything you do for the first time will appear to you and your brain as hard because you haven't done it before. And so you might be putting yourself out there, going to interviews, not getting the job, start doubting yourself, start questioning yourself, or have been getting great performance reviews, but that promotion is not in sight. And so you could start questioning, is it really going to happen for me? And here's the thing I want you to remember, because that's what I printed it in my mind as I was climbing Cathedral Rock. I said to myself, when you get to that messy middle of your journey to your next goal, your next level goal, or your bold goal, remember this moment at Cathedral Rock in Sedona, Arizona. I was sweating. I was out of breath, but I knew how amazing the destination was. I knew how amazing it was at the top. And that's what kept me going. And now here's the thing. You might not know how amazing it is at the top. You might not know how fantastic it is when you reach your goal. But once you commit and once you decide, I want you to associate amazingness, fantastic feeling, greatness, breathtakingly beautiful with that goal, with your destination. Because it can get rough on your journey to that destination. And the question is, when it does get rough, how do you keep going? Because my friend, who just 1 year earlier decided to turn around and go back down, she missed out. She missed out on the beauty and the greatness of Cathedral Rock. And when we got to the top, so she was complaining all the way up, Sam, you said it was easy. Why did you do this? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, trust me, trust me, trust me. It's worth it. And once we got to the top, she said, Sam, thank you so much for bringing me here. Thank you so much for reassuring me that it's worth it, because I wanted to give up. But because you were so passionate and so convincing that it was worth staying and climbing to the top, I did it because I felt that your reassurance and your confidence kept me going. And just 1 year earlier, she didn't have that. And she based her decision to stop or continue based on what she knew. She knew it was hard. She knew she was out of breath. She knew she was scared. She did not know what it would look like at the top. And therefore, she took a decision based on her past self, right? The knowledge she had up to that point. She did not know what was waiting for her at the top. Are you following me? Are you thinking? So as I'm telling this story, how it can apply for your life and work? Because that's why I always say, make your goal so bold, so beautiful. Paint the picture of what life would be like, what would work be like with that goal. And then when you start a journey and it gets harder, it's not about being in the moment and thinking, oh my goodness, this is so hard. I can't do it. I'm quitting. I'm going back. It's about having that vision that is so, so beautifully painted and so compelling that it becomes your pull. And when the going gets rough, it's going to pull you up. It's going to pull you up to your destination. Because when you don't have that vision that's so big, so bold, so colorful, so beautiful, you run the risk of turning back halfway, stopping or quitting before the miracle happened. And so whatever you decided is your desired future, your next level goal, your bold wish, dream, ambition, do not stop before it happens, because it will happen. The question is not whether it will or it won't. The question is, what will you do when the going gets rough? When you hit the messy middle? When you start doubting yourself? And here's the thing, because my climb at Nike, it took me 9 years to go from being a business planning manager, which today is called lead business planner, to a senior director leading a billion-dollar business. And now that I'm here, I'm like, oh, that was easy. It was an easy journey. But if I think back, it wasn't really that easy. But I forgot. I forgot the journey. And why did I forget the journey? Because once you get to your destination, once you get to your goal, It's beautiful. It's amazing, right? And so just like I forgot that hiking, really climbing Cathedral Rock is really hard. Even when you're fit, it's really hard. I could only remember and think of the top, the views, how amazing I felt. And so the same if I compare with my career, I forgot what it was like to progress and climb that ladder to get to senior director of $1 billion business. I really forgot. And when this Cathedral Rock journey happened, I thought to myself, wow, it was actually not an easy road, not an easy climb. See the comparison to my senior director goal at Nike. But I had my goal in mind, and I knew that I would do whatever it takes to get there. And now that I'm there, I forgot the journey. I forgot how tough it was and how hard it was. Now, I'm not saying this to discourage you. I'm actually saying that it is worth it. No matter what you decide you want to be moving towards, there will be bumps in the road. There will be detours. There will be dead ends. And it's going to make you question if you're on the right path, if this is really for you, if you're cut out for it, as I can assure you. But as exactly that doubts, those questions, that means that you're close to a breakthrough or close to achieving your goal. And so what I wanted to share today is that I made a decision, just like I made a decision last week or in the last episode I shared, that I will start considering fear to be my friend because that means I'm getting closer to what I really want. I am going to start every time I doubt myself or I wonder if I'm on the right path and if I'm cut out for this, I am going to think about my climb to the top of Cathedral Rock. Because it was so, again, it is so breathtaking, the view. I hope that everyone listening or watching can go and see the Cathedral Rock in Sedona, Arizona, and experience what I experienced. That climb was so, so, so tough. And actually, there was a part when I took the wrong turn and I climbed up, hit a dead end, and I had to turn around and go back down before progressing. And then I'm like, why am I doing this? But that's the same as in life and work. There are dead ends. You might think you're one step ahead and then boom, something happens. You need to go 2 steps back. And that's okay as long as you keep going step by step by step. And don't you dare worry about the way down when you're on your way up. Your only job is to focus on the goal, not what happens after the goal. Once you get to the goal, you can start worrying what happens after the goal. And so I was telling the ladies I was climbing with, please stop worrying about how we're going to get down. Our sole mission at this moment is to make sure we get to the top. That is our goal. That is our destination. And so every energy, mental, physically needs to go into step by step climbing so we reach the top. No wasted energy on how are we going to get to the bottom? That's a distraction. That's energy wasted. Once you hit your goal, once you get to the top, first enjoy it because it's amazing, Cathedral Rock. And then on your way down, once you're ready, you've took your picture, you're being all amazing, snap, 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 photo here, photo there. Only then can you start thinking about, oh my goodness, how am I going to get back down? Because then you hit your goal. And now it's safe to start spending energy on the next question. Because when you have a goal and you're distracted with how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? You're diffusing your energy, distracting it from your goal into other places. Okay. So you really need to be focused. That's one. And then the other thing, as we were progressing and climbing that ladder, one of my friends, she had a bag and it was so heavy, it was making it difficult to continue climbing. So she had a choice. Do I stop here, midway point, and wait for you ladies to come back down, go to the top, come back down? Or do I leave my back behind in order to continue the climb? And that's also a beautiful metaphor, because what does it mean to leave your back behind? Because the back was weighing on her. It was making her heavy, making it impossible to continue the climb. And so many people I work with, they think, what do I need to do to get there? What I need to do to continue to grow, to progress, to advance, to go to my next role, my next job, my next opportunity? And those are good questions. Those are great questions. But I also want you to start thinking about, what do I need to let go of in order to continue my climb, in order to continue to progress, in order to reach my destination, my next level goal, my bold goal, the opportunities that are waiting for me. Because, and this, I've used this metaphor before. Imagine you're wearing this backpack and it's so, so heavy. Every time, every year, you gain experience, you gain a skill set, behaviors, limiting beliefs, everything. It goes into the backpack behind here. And that backpack gets heavy as you gain more experience, as you go older and wiser. It happens. It's okay. But as you go into your next opportunity and your next goal, start thinking about, what do you have to leave behind? And I wish more people would ask this question. What is it that I need to let go of? What thoughts, behaviors, and actions are no longer serving me that I choose to leave behind in order to progress, in order to advance? And so my friend, she said, ladies, I cannot continue climbing with this backpack. I think I'm going to stop. And we said, no, you're not going to stop. Leave it behind. But what if they take my water bottle, my this, my that? You have a decision to make. Are you going to ditch the back and continue the climb so you get to the top and experience the amazing views? Or are you going to choose for the old, your water bottle, she had a scarf, I think, in that bag, material things that you can replace, but stay here and forgo on achieving your goal and achieving your destination? So she left that backpack behind because it was weighing her down, it was slowing her down, and it was actually making her question whether she wanted to continue in the first place. And the moment she left that bag, she left it behind, boom, unstoppable. The climb became much easier. She sprinted through the second half of the climb and she got to the top and she's like, I would not have traded this for the world. No question that leaving my bag was the right thing to do. So why am I telling this story? Because it holds a lesson. It holds a lesson that when your destination and your goal are bold enough, the journey can be tough at times because you might be doing things that you've never done before. The question becomes, how are you going to deal with a messy middle when it gets tough, when the going gets rough? And most importantly, when you get to that messy middle and you're halfway, are you going to quit and turn around like most people do because you want to stay in a comfort zone? Or are you going to push yourself and remind yourself that this is worth it? This journey is worth it, because once you get there, you will forget the hard climb. You will forget the sweats, the tears, the bleeding that almost disappeared. You will forget all that. And then the last question I have, in order to start progressing again, to move forward, what do you need to leave behind? What is your version of the bag, of my friends? What do you need to leave behind for now? Stop doing, stop acting, stop thinking in order for you to progress, advance into your next level. And I really wanted to tell this story because as I was climbing, and the only thing I could think was like, oh my goodness, This is what it feels like when you know that that goal and the destination and that vision you hold for yourself are so worth it. And you might not know yet how amazing it is at the top. You might not know yet how breathtakingly beautiful it is when you reach your opportunity, your vision, your next level goal. But you need to operate, or what would happen if you operate from a place of trust? And on your way there, you look at the rough patches as learnings or as temporary states before you get to where you actually want to be. And then the final thing, what's stuck with me that one friend said is, if I wasn't with you ladies, I would have turned around. But being around you gives me the confidence that I can do it too. And this is why I founded Powerhouse Code, to show you what's possible, to show you examples. This is why this podcast exists. Because in contrast to what LinkedIn, the people on LinkedIn want to show you is another job, another opportunity, another this, another that. It can get depressing if you only see the good things. Because I can tell you once again for myself, climbing the ladder at Nike, apparently I forgot how hard it was because I got to where I wanted to be. And it's amazing. I have authority, I have ownership, I lead a great team, but I forgot what it was like to get there. How many times I cried in the bathroom, how many times I got rejected for roles. And those are the stories that need to be told more often. Because just like my friend said, because of you, I think I can do it as well. And if it weren't for you, I would have quit, would have given up on my goal. That's exactly what I want you to experience as well. You're not alone in this journey. There have been people that come before you, and there will be people that come after you. Because maybe this is the highlight of that experience at Cathedral Rock. When we were climbing down, well, we weren't really climbing down anymore. We were just on our butts going down and down and down. There were people, we were coming, bumping into people that were out of breath, like, how long, how long? And what we said was, you're almost there. Keep going. It only gets easier after this. And it's so worth it. And that's also something to compare in life and work. When you do the thing that's hard and you get to where you want to be, you forget how hard it was, but now you have evidence. Now you have experience. Now you can tell other people, you know what? It is hard. It is a hard climb. It is hard to do things that you've never done before. It is hard to step outside of comfort zone. But you know what comes after? Easy. After the hard, it gets easier. You're almost there, and it's so worth it. So, as you think about your next step, your next level, whatever that looks like for you, whether that's life, business, career, whatever it is, think about your why you want to get there. And once the going gets rough, also think about why it's worth it and why you're going to keep going. Because trust me, once you get through the hard part, it only gets easier. You're almost there. And it's so, so worth it. I'll see you next week. You have been listening to Unlocked, Your Career by Design with Samantha Florence. If today's episode sparked something, here's your next step. Follow the show and leave a 5-star review. That's how we reach more ambitious women ready to break barriers. And if you know a colleague or friend who needs this, share it with them, because lifting one woman lifts us all. Until next week, keep owning your spotlights.